Hello, hello. Are you live? Let me refresh over here. How are you guys? Happy Wednesday. How's it going? Let's see. Sorry for the little delay. I was having a little trouble here with technical stuff. But we're here. Let's see. Am I live? Am I live? It seems like I'm live. It's loading, so I don't know. Yes, I am live. How's it going, guys? Day number 3 of our Go Live challenge. Sorry about my hair. I'm having a little bad hair day here today. Today's day number 3. If you haven't been watching the videos, on day number 1, we focus on the how to go live on Facebook or Instagram, and we share how it was so important and how it impact the business. On day number 2, that was yesterday, we talked about the setup and the lighting and how to make it look good. Today we're gonna focus on, hi, how's it going? Today we're gonna focus on content. Okay, this is another big one. People really, get stuck on this one. They're like, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna teach? I'm not an expert. So we're gonna dive into that. So you don't have to be an expert. You just have to share what you know. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to think about. If you honestly know what you're talking about, right? If you've something that you have tried that it works, why not share it? That's how you share information with your family, with your friends, and everybody loves when someone tells them something that really works, because then they can apply it and they trust you because they know you and they know that you're not going to tell them something that is not true. So just for everyone out there who thinks like, oh, I'm not an expert, or I don't have a certification or anything like that, just be honest with yourself. And if the information that you're going to share, the content that you're going to share, is content that is helpful and is useful and that you know that it works because you have applied it yourself, you know it works for you or it works for your clients, the ones that you're helping, why not share it? So what we're gonna talk about here, I'm just gonna share with you different aspects of the content thing, and if you have any questions at all, just let me know. I've been loving all the questions and the comments. I'm glad that this is helpful. I have to tell you, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm answering the questions that you guys have been sending. It's not because, oh, let me just do a challenge and go ahead and do it. My hope here is that you guys get the information you need to take action. I think the most important thing here, it's great to learn new things. It's great to understand what's going on with this process, but the most important thing is for you guys to be able to take action and make a difference in your business. So I encourage you to please take action. I know that some of you are doing it, and I'm seeing you live on Instagram and Facebook, and congrats. I think that's amazing. If you have any questions, just keep asking. I'm here to support you. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna talk about is structure. So when it comes to video, right, you're gonna go live, and some people need structure, right? And this is a simple framework that I use and that it works for me and that I'm gonna share with you, and hopefully it will give you ideas, or maybe it will work for you as well. So every video basically has a beginning, a middle, and the end, right? So in the beginning, what do? You simply introduce yourself, you tell people who you are or your brand, right? And then you tell them what you're gonna talk about. So you introduce the topic idea. This is what I'm gonna share, this is what I'm gonna teach you, this is what I'm gonna do in this video, right? So people know what is going on and what to expect. Then there's the content piece. So for the content piece, less is always more, right? It's hard for people to retain a lot of information, so the less you tell them, the more they're gonna retain that information. So you can teach them one thing, you can teach them 3 things, maybe you can teach them 5 things, and just let them know. In the beginning, in the first part, you tell them, hey, I'm gonna teach you 5 tips for this, and I'm gonna tell you how to do that, right? And then in that content part, you just go over the whole content. Then the last part, right, the closing, it's about doing a quick recap of what happened, right? Because you have going on and explain your thing, and you just want people to really absorb that information. So do a really quick recap and then give them a call to action, a CTA. And that call to action could be, you know, like this video, or, you know, I'll be showing up tomorrow at this time, so I'll see you then, you know, put it in your calendar. Or it could be like, follow my page. Or it could be, you know, go ahead and go live and tell me how it went. You give them a call to action so people can actually use that information that you just shared with them and put it into action. Okay, so that is a very simple framework that works for me. You don't have to use that, but I wanted to share that with you so it gives you a point of reference. And I'll go ahead and later, when I'm done with the live today, I'll share it in a post so you have access to it, and then you look at it and see what works for you, what doesn't work, or make your own format. Okay, the second thing is the length. So should I make it long? Should I make it short? My answer to you is it depends. Okay, it depends on how you feel about it. Maybe you start doing videos and then you realize, you know, I'm really not very good with long videos. I'm better doing short videos, right? Or maybe you do feel more comfortable with long videos. So it's gonna depend on you. It's also gonna depend on your audience. So maybe your audience doesn't like long videos and they like short videos. Or maybe it's the opposite, right? So you are gonna test things out. If you go by statistics and what, you know, marketers and people say, shorter videos are always better, right? Like, even if they have, let's say there's a huge long video, and then you take a phrase from it and then you do a small video. That small video usually, like, so much more people watch it because it's quick, it's fast, and everything. But how much is it the transformation? So you have to think about that. You can do both, you can focus on one, whatever works for you. For me, for example, I do both. Sometimes I do shorter ones, sometimes I do longer ones. And I have to tell you, because it happens, I also look at the people that I admire and the people that I watch their videos. It doesn't really matter, right? Because if you really like someone and the content that they have is really helpful, you are gonna watch the video anyway. Maybe you don't have enough time to watch it a certain day, and then you keep watching it little by little until you finish it, you know, throughout the days. Or you know, so it doesn't really matter. If the information is really good and people like you, they're gonna watch it no matter what. So again, make the decision based on what works for you and works on your audience. Okay. When it comes to the delivery and the memorization and all that kind of thing, should I memorize? Should I just, you know, show up live and do it? Should I just have some bullet points? Again, whatever works for you. So when I was in school, I went to school through TV production, and I had my production class where we would get together and we would produce different kinds of shows and productions. So we focus on how to do a newscast, right? How to do a live presentation for those of my you know, students, my friends who wanted to be maybe a commentator or something like that, right? Like in sports, going to the sports arena. We also did like game shows, like we did different formats. And I found out, for me, what works the best is the newscast kind of format. So you sit there, right, and you have a teleprompter, which in this case I don't have, but I have the computer right here, right, where I can tell that I'm live and where I can see that there's image going on, so I know that you guys can see me. I can see a comment or a like or something if it shows up here, so you'll tell me. If you guys can't hear me, it will let me know, right? And then I also have my notes, right, which is just a bullet points. I don't write everything down, but I do have some bullet points because I want to make sure that I get across the message that I have for you guys. So that format works for me. It makes me feel good. I feel good. I have my water, if anything. I have my notes so I don't forget anything. And then I have this equipment right here that tells me that I'm live, that you guys can hear me. So that makes me feel good when I'm doing the live. Other people, right, prefer other kinds of formats. For example, some people love the commentator kind of thing, like we would act like we were narrating a soccer game, for example, and people love the thrill of being live and just seeing what's happening and reacting and commenting and answering questions. So if that makes you feel good, then maybe that's the format that you can try out. You have people, just tell them you're going live and that you're going to answer questions, and have people pop up and ask you questions, and then you answer, and then you have that kind of conversation without really knowing what's gonna come out of it. If that makes you feel awesome, then go with that. And other people, for example, prefer more like the acting part of things. Like if we had a show and then they just had a skit and they had to memorize something and then perform, they love that because they wanted to know how they were gonna do it and know all the lines. So if that works for you, maybe doing lives where you already know what you're gonna say and just push the button and share the information, that works for you. So again, you have to test it out. From my point of view, like I mentioned, this is what works for me. Sometimes I really enjoy also the live thing of just answering questions, or for example, I love interviewing people or sharing information with people and just having a conversation online. So that's why in my podcast, for example, I try to interview people there because I really enjoy it and I love having those conversations. So if that works for you, that's another way to do it. Okay. Yes, the next thing is the topic. So this is another one. People ask me all the time, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. I don't know what to teach. I don't know what to share. Like this doesn't, I don't know. So if you have an audience already, even if it's a small audience, you can ask them like, hey, I'm gonna do a live. Do you have any questions? Just let me know and I'll answer them live. So that's a great format and it's a very natural format. The stress really goes down because you already know they want that information and you're just basically showing up and serving your audience. So that's a great way to create content. The second thing could be if you don't have an audience yet or you're just starting out, just talk about things that you're really passionate about. So come up with a small list. It could be 5 topics and figure out what are those things that go with your brand and that would be helpful to your audience that you're really passionate about, and just start testing things. Do one of each topic and see which one people interact the most with, which one people like, and how, you know, if maybe they ask you questions, so you can do that as well. The other thing is, you know, pay attention to the questions you get from people, whether it's in a message, someone leaves you a message in a picture, or maybe they send you a DM, or maybe they send you an email asking something. That gives you clues of what people expect from you, what people know that you know, and they want that information. So you can use all that as well to create content because you already know that people want that content, okay? Okay. The last thing I want to share with you today is just a few tips just to make sure that whenever you do the live, it goes well and you feel better about it and that people receive it in the best way possible. So some tips are, first, give examples. So examples are key. You can share information with people, but if you don't give examples, some people are not gonna get what you're talking about. Some people learn better by just listening to examples, and also people are gonna remember examples more than figures or just plain information. Okay. The second thing is to make it personal. So if someone is there live, right, and they're commenting, you know, call them by their name, or if someone left you a question, you know, share their name, or maybe something happened to you that relates to what you're talking about, include it. So make it personal, because the people who are listening are people, they're human. So even though we are through the technology, right, what makes it human is that you make it personal. So that's another great way to add value through the video, so it doesn't feel like it's cold and that you can, you know, that there's no communication happening. And then the third thing is to tell stories, okay? So stories, again, it's kind of like similar to examples, but the example can be very simple. A story is even better because a story, people can relate to it. All of us have gone through very similar stories, even if there are things in the story that don't match exactly with what you're talking about. People can relate to different scenarios. For example, I just shared the story of me being in school and working in these different projects in my production class. And maybe you haven't gone through production school, but you can relate with the person working on the project and be like, yeah, I really don't like being live and not knowing what I need to do. I really like memorizing stuff. Or no, you know what, I really feel like Sandra, like I really feel like having just a few bullet points will make me feel more secure and I will enjoy it way more, you know? So stories do that. Stories help people relate to each other. relate to you, to what you're talking about, and people are going to remember that way more. Like, they might not remember the exact information you share, but they will remember the story, and they'll be able to apply that knowledge that you share with the whatever situation they're going through. Okay, so we have talked then about structure today, right? What format can you use? And like I said, I'll share it with you in a post if you want to save it, experiment with it, right? Then we talked about the length, whether it's better to do something short or something long. Then we talk about that delivery and memorization, if you need to memorize it or not. We talk about topics, how to come up with topics for your content. And finally, I just share some tips with you to make sure that when you share the content, you're doing a great job, and people are really communicating with you, and it's going well. So that's what I have for you today, and my challenge for you is to come up with your own structure. So if you haven't gone live yet and you want to go live on Friday, like we mentioned, come up with that structure. You can use my structure, the one that I'm going to share, or you can come up with your own. Whatever works best for you, because you are the one delivering the message, so you have to make sure that you feel comfortable in it and that it's working for you, and of course for your audience. Okay, so my challenge to you is that to come up with your own structure. If you want to share it, if you want feedback, please feel free to share it. Again, like I said, the whole point of this thing is to get you to take action. By me answering all these questions that you guys have and giving you all these tools, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, as easy as possible for you to just, okay, I'm ready, let me do it. That's the point, really. Because I think even if you are just starting out, even if you think you have a small audience, you don't know the impact that just showing up and sharing your message has. Like, I've been doing all these lives this week, right? And I'm also doing them in different platforms, right? Because I'm going through the challenge with you, and I'm serving my audience in different groups and different things. And really, it almost feels like I'm running a TV station here with everything that is going on. But the most amazing thing is that I'm having constantly conversations with people. I'm answering questions, I'm serving my audience, people are buying products, like all this stuff is happening. And even though I'm always working and I do lives and things, it actually feels like I'm even working even more, but in a good way, because you're actually having that conversation. Sometimes when we work from home, and now that all of us are working from home, we kind of get detached from that because we're not experiencing every day, and we forget that that's the most important thing. So I know a lot of people in our industry who really depend on that one-on-one interaction in person, and they're really suffering right now because they can't do the events or they can't have those conversations, but you can still have them online, because guess what? The person talking to you, it's still that same person. And you can, if you take advantage of those tips we talked about, and you really share the story, you really make it personal, you really think about answering those questions that your audience has, then you are gonna develop that relationship, and people are gonna be naturally attracted to you, and people are gonna naturally ask you questions. So it's gonna lead to business no matter what. So take all that in, and get yourself out there and talk about your business and about your amazing services. I know that all the people in this group are amazing. They have amazing talent and amazing information to share. So please make sure that you take action. Not for me, for you, for the business, okay? If you have any questions at all, let me know. If you've been watching, thank you so much for watching today. We'll be getting here together tomorrow, and we're gonna talk about appearance, and like if you're worried about looking your best on camera, and some tips and tricks to make it better. I'll share some of that information with you tomorrow. Again, the challenge is to come up with your own structure for your live for Friday or for Monday. And if you have any questions, let me know. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.